I'm riding the historic military route nicknamed Hell's Highway. In the previous video I rode through Valkenswaard, the first village to be liberated by the British 30 Corps. Cycling together with Bart and Wout, Hell's Highway took us through Eindhoven, the area liberated by the US 101st Airborne Division. We now head towards the landing sites and drop zones.
Wow, God, wind's picked up, isn't it? I think there's going to be a storm. Oh my God. The airborne forces used two methods to deploy their men and machines to the battlefield. The first was by parachute, and the other was by a special type of glider called a HORSA glider, made from wood. The airborne troops, particularly the US paratroopers, used C-47 Skytrains, or what we know as the Douglas Dakota.
The Douglas C-47 Skytrain was a derivative of a civilian transport plane and was given the designation Dakota for RAF purposes. It was a twin-engine transport plane with a cruising speed of about 204 miles per hour or 180 knots and was designed to be operated by a crew of 4. Inside the C-47, it could accommodate up to 28 troops or troops and cargo mix, up to a total weight of 2,700 kilograms. The plane had a single side door through which the paratroopers would jump. In total, over 16,000 C-47s were produced by Douglas.
And the HORSA gliders were mainly used by the British. They could take a complement of men, plus some light vehicles, Willy Jeeps, and some 105 pack howitzers. And then over the drop site, they were released between altitudes of 1,500 feet and 4,000 feet, and that was it. Once you were released in your glider, you just had to steer it as best you could towards your landing site, and the only control really that you had on the descent path was your air brake, which would destroy the lift on your wing and allow you to sink quicker, or your airspeed, and the faster you went, the further you went.
The Airspeed AS-51 HORSA was a British troop carrying glider and was used in large numbers by the British Army Air Corps. The US forces tended to use the WW2 glider. The HORSA was capable of transporting a maximum of 30-seated fully equipped troops. It also had the flexibility to carry a jeep or small artillery pieces. Although it could and was towed by C-47s, due to its weight when loaded, it was more usual to be towed by converted Sterling bombers, which had 4 engines.
My goodness me, there's been a turn in the weather. There looks like a storm just coming through. Now let's see if I get absolutely soaking wet. Oh yeah, what is it saying? That we're okay?
It's saying that there is a huge downpour coming in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You need to get shelter. Look at that.
That's a great app.
That's the Dutch for you.
It's predicting the rain. So you can imagine if you were one of these pilots or the glider pilots, very much required good weather conditions. And so that was another influencing factor to why the operation was delayed, particularly on day 2. In the UK, mist and low cloud prohibited takeoff. So in order to pilot the gliders, the British Army raised a regiment known as the Glider Regiment.
The Glider Regiment was formed in 1942 with the objective of training soldiers to pilot the HORSA gliders. These were soldiers first, pilots second. While being towed, the glider pilots were trained to hold station relative to the towing aircraft. Once released, the crew could deploy an air brake to increase the rate of descent, and it was said that the glider was surprisingly manoeuvrable. On successful completion of their training, the soldiers earned the Army Flying Badge, known as Wings, which they wore proudly over their left breast pocket of their tunics.
Oh, the wind is picking up. I can feel the first spots of rain. The atmosphere is tangible now. Operation Market Garden Troop Carrier Command. It was located here.
This is where the gliders landed.
Landed round here. Yeah.
For the
Whoa.
for the first came down for gliders and shoots.
All around these fields here in the background. This is where it was. Thousands of paratroopers. It's extremely atmospheric.
It's an amazing field, isn't it? When you stand on that location and you look at the field, it's like,
Yeah.
damn.
This is where it all happened, where they all
They're
came down.
literally going around the field where they landed.
Waterproofs are on. If it ain't raining, it ain't training. Oh, lightning. I just saw the lightning over there. We're in for a big one. Let's go. It's very dramatic with the cloud line. Yeah.
Something in the air.
Something's happening, boys.
And it's wet.
This is good old-fashioned English weather.
It's not nearly as bad as what those lads had to endure.
Yeah, that's right.
From that perspective, we did better put on.
Yeah, my tears are hidden by the rain.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my odometer and it's clocking up 101, 101st. Another little location to stop. There's a picnic table here and you can take a break. Another waypoint to check out. This is the location where the 107th Panzer Division, the Germans, they tried to counterattack. They were a unit that was on its way to the Eastern Front and were given orders to stop and turn around. I think they were in the Koblenz area and it took a couple of days to get here via Venlo, and they gave the Allied forces a heck of a battle. And you can see from these photographs the guys taking shelter in the ditch.
Oh, very kindly been opened for us.
Look at this.
Wow,
Wow, eh?
amazing.
Now, this is everything which is used, which was used here. This guy was standing in the church steeple, Harry Howard. The Americans in the sand dunes needed support from artillery, and there was the 907th. They went to the corridor and took 525 pounders from the British because they did not have any equipment because it was destroyed when they landed, and they put it behind the school, which is next to the church. And then he went up into the church steeple to give fire direction. But the Germans saw him in the steeple, and there were 4 Jagdpanther roaming around here. And they saw him in the church steeple. The Germans had just destroyed the windmill, because you can see it over there. It's totally wrecked. The next high point was the church steeple. So he went up there, and the Germans saw him in there, and they started shooting with this Jagdpanther at the church steeple. And suddenly it was hit and he disappeared, and his guys thought he must be dead, so they went up and they found him on a pile of rubble, and he dusted his uniform and he said, "We have an American Stars and Stripes in my Jeep, go and get it." So they came up with the Stars and Stripes and he draped it out of the church steeple, and from that moment on it became a personal duel between Harry Howard in the church steeple and the German tank commander, because the flag was shot out of the church steeple 5 times, and every time he ran down, picked up the flag and ran up and put it out again.
Tremendous. Yeah.
And if you come here between 17th September and 24th September, we always fly a 48-star flag from the church steeple, because that was the last time that the Germans set foot in this village, because in 1 week time it changed sides 6 times. This is Jacob Wingard. He was killed in the windmill on the 18th of September in the morning. He was an observer for the mortar platoon, and they had an observation post here in the windmill. And the Germans saw, because they were very effective, and the 81mm mortars were at the church. So they saw him up at the window, and they sent out a sniper, and the sniper killed him. But what you see over here, that's the original window, and the bullet came through the right, on the right corner, through that window. We had a good relationship with this widow, and she, just before she died, she sent us his Purple Heart. So this Purple Heart is engraved. And the first thing that we did, we went to Margate, where he's buried, and then we put his medal on top of there.
My goodness. What a privilege. The gentleman has opened up this windmill for us. He didn't have to, but he wants to share his knowledge and the stories and the sacrifices of these paratroopers. And we're going inside the windmill. We're climbing a couple of staircases. Looks like bags of flour down there. And reaching up the top here, you can see all the workings of the windmill, all the trapdoors and the woodwork, and a huge, great big wheel gearing.
This is Jacob. He was standing right here when he was killed. His lieutenant was upstairs, and Dick Klein, the radio operator, was standing next to Jake. And the Germans were in the fields around here, and here you see the sails are now in front of it, but there's a hedgerow, and that's where the German sniper went in, and he shot him through this window, and the bullet went through his body and deflected, and it's still lodged here in the wall.
Oh my days, look at that.
And how do we know that it is sure? A friend of mine, he's a forensic detective, and they searched that scene. Yeah, this beam is a new one, and the old one is a little bit smaller, so it was a little bit higher. But they
could like trace the trajectory of the bullet
with the laser, and they said
with a laser.
Yeah, and they went so much short, and then somebody said, yeah, but okay, it could be that he hit a rib or a bone, and it will deflect up.
Yeah.
So they saw the bullet there, and then they found a little piece of glass in the inside. So they asked if they could take it out, and they took a little sample of the glass, and they put it on an electron microscope, and it matched 100%. So it's a 99.8% sure that this is the bullet which killed Jake.
What a moment.
Don't film me crashing down. I'll have no teeth left if I crash down on this.
Just a quick word of advice: if you come to the windmill, be careful of your footwear. If you're riding in cleats, then this is going to be treacherous. Take your shoes off. Bart and I have got mountain bike shoes on, so our cleats are hidden. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you very much for that. That was for guys like us, it means a lot. Thank you.
At 127 kilometres we approached the town of Zeeland, where we finished the first day's riding. Join us in the next video where we continue to ride Hell's Highway. Thanks for watching.